back to the Homemade Podcast of Sports with your host, Jay Potts. Guys, it's official, baby. We're here. It is Notre Dame week, right? I think we've all been waiting to get to this week. However, we've all enjoyed a couple of those games, the one with UTEP and, the one with Utah State. So now it's time to really get down to handling some business out here in college football, okay? This is going to be a good week slate, a good weekend slate. I believe we have Georgia and Tennessee kicking it off with the 2:30 game, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. You got Florida and LSU over there in Death Valley at night. And then you got Texas A&M at Notre Dame and South Bend at 6:30, baby. Nighttime, okay? I'm ready. I'm very confident, okay? I'm not arrogant with it, but I am ready. I'm ready to point out some key factors offensively that's going to muster us up to a victory, okay? I am putting on for the city for this game. I am having a barbecue cookout, right? And the barbecue cookout is called Dukes and Boots, baby. All right, so it's down here officially in Conroe, Texas, at the house, and we're going to have a lot of fun. All right, I'm ready. Everybody else should be ready. And this game should be the game that's going to be the deciding factor of Texas A&M. And I'm going to be honest with you, probably Notre Dame as well, okay? Where am I leaning? Where am I leaning at in this game? I'm leaning Texas A&M winning this football game 28-24. Very close game. Very close. I will say this, and I'm going to break this down. I said this last year, and I talked about it, right? If Texas A&M comes into this game, first quarter, they scored 3 points, right? The score is looking like it's 3-0. Texas A&M. It's going to be a very close game. That score ends up being 7-0. It's still going to be a very close game. If Texas A&M scores 10 points in the first quarter, I'm all talking about first quarter here, Texas A&M may start pulling away early in this ball game. They may just start to pull away. If Texas A&M scores 14 points easily in this game in the first quarter, Texas A&M may very well have a chance to blow this Notre Dame team out at home. I can see it both ways. I can see this game being a very close game, Texas A&M winning it. I can also see Notre Dame winning this game, but the thing about Notre Dame is going to have to pull out all the stops to win this football game. The reason to why a lot of people are picking Notre Dame to win this football game is because of the history of Texas A&M, okay? Texas A&M hasn't went on the road and won against a ranked non-conference opponent in their own home stadium, which is the true road game, since 1968 or 1978, I believe. That's a very long time. We're in 2025 now. That's a very long time. So I get it. I get why people are picking them, okay? What I don't get is this. I looked at a couple of things, and the only person I hear that people are mentioning, and I don't know if it's because there's no confidence in the quarterback or it's just what people are believing that Notre Dame is just simply going to do. And that's Jeremiah Love. Okay? Everybody continues to mention Jeremiah Love, but they don't mention the rest of the team. I'm going to say this once again. Everybody continues to mention Jeremiah Love, the running back, but they don't necessarily mention the entire team. So I don't know why that is, right? But I do know that they have Jordan Price there as well, which is another running back. And matter of fact, if guys don't remember, Jordan Price was the other running back that ran for a long amount on us and essentially broke that game open in the fourth quarter. Okay? I believe that guy is going to do his best to get some carries. Okay? The name that everybody forgets to mention, though, and I don't know why they do this, right? And I don't want this young man to get buried, nor do I want him to get overlooked. Notre Dame's quarterback, C.J. Carr. I'm looking heavily at C.J. Carr. Why? Because when Texas A&M wins this football game by a score of what I said, that means they done one thing soundly. They done one thing sound and fundamental. They got to the quarterback, but also they got to Jeremiah Love and Jordan Price together, which means they shut down the running game and they're making C.J. Carr beat them. What I don't want Texas A&M to do in this ball game is let up play action passes. And you guys mark what I said. It's going to be a play action pass game for C.J. Carr. Okay? I believe this pass rush is going to be better than last year's pass rush. No disrespect to those guys, because those guys were some phenomenal guys that went off to the NFL. But I believe this defensive front, right, regardless of what they've given up running-wise, sack-wise, they're coming in with one of the best units in sacking the quarterback, okay? Over a span of 2 games, they've already collected 7 total sacks. They got 6 last game against UTSA, and they also got 1 in the UTSA game, right? I believe they will have another chance to get to the quarterback, which is C.J. Carr. Now, what I will say is this here. I'm not going to disrespect that Notre Dame defensive line. I'm not going to do that. I will go and rewatch that Miami and Notre Dame game all throughout this week. But what I will say is this here. I believe that defensive front is going to surprise a lot of people. Talking about Texas A&M defensive front, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people in this game, okay? The difference makers on defense will be the linebacking core. Texas A&M linebackers are going to be blitzing it. They're going to blitz a lot in this game. C.J. Carr is very inexperienced, okay? That's another reason why I'm leaning Texas A&M in this game. C.J. Carr is very inexperienced. This is his first game at home. So C.J. Carr is going to come out and he's going to be hyped up. I think Texas A&M has to go and quiet that crowd early, very early. That's why I say if they jump on Notre Dame with a 14-0 lead, I think Texas A&M may be in for a blowout. If Texas A&M goes up 21-0 in the first quarter, I think it may just be a long day. And I think that Texas A&M is by far playing mid-season football at that point. I'm going to say it again. If Texas A&M jumps out on them early, 21-0 in the first quarter, whether it be 3 straight offensive touchdowns or 2 offensive touchdowns and 1 defensive touchdown, or even the special teams, then Texas A&M is by far in mid-season form offensively already. They are literally in mid-season form. If it's 21-0, that offensive defense, man, they're going to have a field day. If it's 21-0 Notre Dame, we're also in that trouble as well of like, oh crap, you know, we didn't come out and play good. You know, now Mike Elko is one of the best at making defensive, adjustments during halftime. But what I'm telling you is that this linebacking core has got to play one of the best games that they played under Mike Elko since that LSU game. I'm going to say it once again, since that LSU game, okay? I believe Scooby Williams is going to be all over that field. I believe Terry Young York is going to be all over that field. I also believe, and I can't think of the other linebacker for whatever reason, but I think those two specifically are going to be all over that field. I really do think so. I think Notre Dame is going to be ready for those blitzes. I will say that. They're going to be ready for some blitzes. But I believe for the simple fact that Scooby Williams being so fast, Scooby's going to get around at least a handful of those blitzes. And a couple of those sacks he's going to come close to getting, but he's not going to get. A couple of them he will rack up on his own. Or if he doesn't rack it up, he's going to disrupt that quarterback enough to where that quarterback is going to start throwing some interceptions. I'm going to say it once again that C.J. Carr will start throwing a couple of these picks all over that ball field. Okay? I believe our cornerback unit is going to step up and be very good. I'm not going to talk about the Notre Dame wide receivers because I don't know what all they bring to the table. But if they're going to win, they're going to be the difference makers. It's not going to be Jordan Love. It's not going to be Price. None of that. Okay. I believe Notre Dame difference makers has to be the wide receivers, right? Because this defense is going to call out the wide receiver play from Notre Dame. Don't you get me wrong. Notre Dame tight end is going to make a couple of plays. The wide receivers are going to make a couple of plays. The question is, will A&M be able to make even bigger plays? Okay? I'm looking for a couple of turnovers in this game produced by A&M. I am looking at a couple of them. Mainly some interceptions being thrown. Okay? If CJ Carr is picked off for 2 interceptions early, I like a lot of chances for this A&M football team. Okay? I believe what no one is talking about, a wide receiver that no one is talking about, that's going to be a difference maker on this offensive side of the ball, is Terry Bussey. I believe Terry Bussey is going to show up ready to play. Okay? Understand that Notre Dame lost a lot defensively, man. They lost a lot. Okay? They lost a ton. Once again, that's the reason why I'm going with A&M in this game. Not because I'm a homer, but I'm going with A&M because of simply experience. Okay? This is a very experienced team on both sides of the football. All right? That cornerback unit for Notre Dame, those guys are inexperienced. And Texas A&M has to take advantage of that with Casey Concepcion, with Mario Craver, in which I believe is going to get heavily open, and with Terry Bussey, that's going to get heavily open deep down the field, right? A lot of you guys have been wanting to see Marcel Reed get these deep throws. I think he gets them in this game. I think he gets a lot of them in this game, and it's going to make Notre Dame start playing something in where they weren't intending on playing from the get-go. They're going to start playing the passing of Texas A&M. And it's going to leave where Marcel Reed has Le'Veon Moss. Marcel Reed has Reuben Owens. Marcel Reed has Amari Daniels. And then Marcel Reed is also going to have E.J. Smith. Mario Reed is also going to have himself, okay, to electrify that running game that we just seen produce 235 yards on last week, okay? This is what's going to make A&M be that team to show up to South Bend. And it's going to make a lot of us and a lot of people in South Bend come away stunned. Wow. And I'm telling you this here before it happens. I believe Texas A&M will go out and win that ball game. I believe Texas A&M wide receivers are the wide receivers that we've been missing for a very long time, specifically up under the Jimbo regime. We've honestly missed those type of wide receivers, okay? KC Concepcion is a possession wide receiver that can also make plays on special teams. And that's the side of the ball that honestly a lot of people fail to mention. Texas A&M has one of the best special teams units. They have a punt returner in KC Concepcion that can return the ball whenever he wants to down the field for however many yards. Terry Bussey is another guy that can return the ball down the field for however many yards he wants to. This is what's helping Marcel Reed in that offense click. It's been against 2 FBS opponents. That's not FCS, okay? It hasn't been an upper tier competition. I get that. But everybody isn't playing up tier competition right now, okay? So, you guys can't get mad because A&M just hadn't played up tier competition, all right? I don't like the fact that a lot of you Aggies out there are downing Texas A&M, and you guys are saying that we're going to get blown out here, right? And I get it. I totally get it. But then again, I don't get it because Marcel Reed in his offense has showed you that they can go out and make plays Okay, yes, it hadn't been against the best of the competition. But my thing with Marcel Reed coming back and being the starter of this football team was his experience. And that's what I believe Marcel Reed is starting to show as the season continues to go along. Mario Craver is another guy that's experienced because he got a chance to play that entire freshman year. Mario Craver is a guy that's going to boost this receiving core up, and he's going to take this receiving core a long way. Casey Concepcion is the guy that's the invisible leader, all right? He's a veteran as real. Casey Concepcion, understand this, Casey Concepcion has played a lot of football. He may not have played in the SEC like Mario Craver has, and it's a reason to why Mario Craver can get around a lot of people. Number one is speed. Number two is because he played against some of the best darn teams in college football, and that was within the SEC. Okay? Understand, Mario Craver came from Mississippi State. That's an all-out SEC wide receiver. He was on a list, right, for, I think, freshman All-Americans last year because of what he was able to do at Mississippi State. He's showing his progression now a year later. Usually these guys get in a sophomore slump. Mario Craver is not there. He's just not. He's not in a slump. That's what I love about this offensive team. We haven't had skill players this fast since Kevin Sumlin in his entire era. Sumlin had skill players. Sumlin just didn't have defensive players. I'm going to say this once again. Sumlin had skill players. He just didn't have defensive players. Or not at least like he wanted to. What you're getting now from Colin Klein in this offense is Colin Klein looking his best than probably what he's ever looked like. I understand that Kansas State, he looked good. Let's face it, he wasn't going to get these guys like he have at Texas A&M. It's the reason why Colin Klein picked up that phone and said, I accept. It wasn't all about the money, right? The money has a very significant part to do with it. But it was about what he could do at a big-time SEC program like Texas A&M that's known for getting recruits, not only in Texas, but all over the U.S. and even outside the U.S. Once he found out that he could go out and he can get Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion, that was the diamonds in the rough that Colin Klein needed to prove not only his offense, but what he could do as a play caller. I say that this team looks very similar to the 2012 team is because of how much speed they have on offense. This team looks like the 2012 team because of what they have on defense, okay? I think a lot of people are misconstruing that because a lot of people just love to say, oh, we don't have no Johnny Manziel back there. Well, I never said that. I said this team looked similar to the 2012 team. I didn't tell you that everybody looked like Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans. No, what I said was that this team has enough speed to not only monster their opponent offensively, but essentially take their opponent out on defense as well. This team, they're not all the way complete. This is not a flawless team, by all means. But if you're going to ask for me to start making early picks in these big games and what A&M can honestly do going forward with the players that they have and from what I've seen in 2 games, I'm going to tell you that A&M is going to go 11-1 just like I've been saying. I'm also going to tell you that Texas A&M is going to win this game against Notre Dame, but I also said this game was going to be close. Understand that Mario Freeman is not just going to roll over and take the beating. He's not that type of guy. However, if A&M comes out there and they score very quickly because that's just what they can do when it's all put together, then I am going to be honest with you. If it's 21-0 in the first quarter, just like I said, we're probably in for a potential blowout coming from Texas A&M. I don't think that's going to happen, But if that team does that, just remember what I said. Remember what I said, okay? And once again, it's all about experience in these big time games, all right? We're going to take it game by game, all right? But just a couple of things here, all right? So with what I'm looking at, the rushing defense, okay? And I'm gonna just talk about the defense for Notre Dame versus A&M offense. How about that? Right? And we're gonna get into the other things on Thursday when I drop another podcast, in which comes out at 9 p.m. By the way, right? If everything goes right, this podcast comes out usually at about 9 p.m. Okay, but the Notre Dame rushing defense, right? And this is just only through one game when they played against Miami. They are ranked number 75th in the country. They gave up 134 rushing yards to Miami with about 3.5 yards average. If you're going to tell me that Miami is going to come in and they're going to rush the ball, right? And in which I understand Miami was at home, right? Big time motivational game, stuff like that. I understand that. Okay. They were out there in Miami, Florida, beautiful, stuff like that. Then if A&M is bringing in the four horsemen, which I'm going to say running the football, and they just gave you 235 yards in this last game, in which I know this is a way better defense. But if A&M is showing you that they can do that, then it's no doubt in my mind that with a fully squad of running backs, fully healthy squad of running backs, I believe they can go out there and they can get 134 yards on the ground as well. Potentially more. Okay? I'm going to tell you like this here. The reason why I said four horsemen is because of Le'Veon Moss, number 1, Ruben Owens, number 2, Amari Daniels, number 3, Marcel Reed, the dog horse, the annihilator, being the fourth guy. You have to worry about 4 people running the football. I don't think Notre Dame has that many running backs on their roster. I don't think Notre Dame has a quarterback like that on their roster. That's no disrespect to them at all. I'm just telling you guys what I don't think they have. A&M has a lot of weapons on this field this year offensively. Okay? And if they're going to throw out the 75th ranked defense on you, in which they only played one game, you being the second one, and they had a bye week, so you can damn sure believe that Marcus Freeman worked on a lot of things. Run defense is one of them. But then again, what has A&M really showed you to let you know that, hey, we're going to be this team and we're going to be this team? How about A&M be a well-diverse, balanced team this season? That's how you win a lot of football games. Don't think that A&M is just supposed to run the ball because that's how they won last year. No, A&M wants to be a very balanced football team, but A&M wants to know that regardless to what they go to, whether if it's passing one game or running one game, or if they can just put it all together in one game, how can anybody stop it? That's the message that they want to send out, okay? And I think they're going to send out a clear message against this running defense that Notre Dame is putting out on the field, in which is very inexperienced, okay? That's my whole thing. This team is coming back with guys that has 3 years worth of experience. One, Ruben, not so, right? But Amari Daniels, Le'Veon Moss, E.J. Smith, all those guys have big game time experience. They just do. I don't know what else you ask for on that, okay? Marcel Reed has experience as well, and I think you're going to see a lot of zone reads from Marcel Reed in this game. And I think it's going to be a lot of first down zone reads that Marcel Reed is going to run that's going to really piss Notre Dame off. Okay? And I think it's really going to confuse that defense coordinator. Mark my words on that. Okay? So we keep going here. All right? Passing yards allowed, right? And we're just talking about specifically Notre Dame here. Let me go to it. And what's crazy is that I'm telling you guys this, man, and this is due to inexperience. And once again, it's only one game. Notre Dame has only played one game. Okay? So I'm not going to bag on Notre Dame at all. Passing yards allowed. Notre Dame is ranked 77 in all of college football. They gave up about 205 yards to Carson Beck. Don't get me wrong, Carson Beck got way more experience than what Marcel Reed would love to have. But I think Marcel Reed, from what he showed me in 2 games and from what he showed you guys as well, Marcel Reed can pass his football for over 200 yards. Marcel Reed has the wide receivers that can get open and scramble for yards after contact. I'm sorry, he just does. I mean, you can't get mad at Marcel Reed for throwing the ball short and letting his wide receivers go and make the play. Like that's what the wide receivers are supposed to do. He's doing his job. He's distributing it. Once again, I think you see Mario Craven get wide open in this game at least once or twice. I think you see Terry Bussey run wide open in this game at least once or twice. I think Casey Concepcion is the guy that you see make a lot of contested catches. He just goes up and he gets it. Inexperience in that backfield for Notre Dame may just very well be the deciding factor. But we will see. Because it was an inexperienced offensive line last year for Notre Dame, and guess what? They ran the football all over us. Okay? And we keep on going here. All right? Scoring defense. All right? And this is always a very interesting one. Okay? Notre Dame, scoring defense-wise, and they're in here with about giving up, 26 points, I believe, that they gave up. I don't know why, but for that reason, I hate when they don't show. Right? They only had played one game, so they tend to like put them way at the back. Yep. That's kind of essentially what they did too. Kind of just put them way at the back. Guys, please forgive me on that. All right. Notre Dame, ranked 99th in the country, with giving up about 27 points. All right. Texas A&M, right? Just make a note of this as well. Texas A&M is tied for 80th best in the country with about 23 points given up a game. All right. So I just want to tie that in there. All right. Scoring offense wise though for Texas A&M, and I think this is going to shock a lot of people, but then again, probably not. Texas A&M is tied for number 26 with about 43 points a game offensively. Scoring offensive wise, they're tied for 26 in the country. All right. Passing, well, let's go ahead and go to the red zone defense, right? So red zone defense rise. Notre Dame is tied for 36 in the country. All right, with giving up about one red zone attempt. Texas A&M offensively, right? Red zone offensively. Texas A&M. They rank, and that's crazy because I think you've just been seeing a lot of deep throws. Well, you've just been seeing a lot of these receivers make plays from yardage out, and Texas A&M will probably kind of like be way down in the ranking when it comes to like offensive points in red zone. No, where is Texas A&M? Texas A&M offensive red zone points. They got to be in here and tied with somebody. Well, nope, they don't even much have Texas A&M in here. So I believe we haven't even just really reached the red zone all that much. But I don't even much see Texas A&M on here, being that that's just probably how much we've been able to pretty much get it in the end zone, like literally, you know. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Tackles for loss allowed. A&M, just keep a note of this. A&M is tied for 22nd with tackles for loss allowed. That says a lot, right? And it's been 2 games. That says a whole lot. Notre Dame, where they at tackles for loss allowed? Notre Dame is tied for 60, okay? They gave up about 4 tackles for loss in that game against Miami. I will be real. I think Miami has a better defensive front. I think Texas A&M has a better defensive front than Miami. You know, because we have some dogs on that team. Okay, it's some dogs on that defensive line. Sacks allowed. Sacks allowed. Texas A&M is tied for number 29 in the country for sacks allowed. Team sacks. For team sacks, Texas A&M is tied for number 11. Okay, just want to throw that out there. But team sack wise, Notre Dame is tied for 102 in the country with about 1 sack. Okay, they only had 1 sack last game. All right, only about 1 sack. Special teams, man. Special teams wise. A&M is up there for top in the country. And let me just go to it. Let me check this out, because I do want to check out special team. And I don't know why I didn't go to this, right? Punt returns. Texas A&M is ranked 9th in the country for, you know, with an average of 22.86 yards a punt return and 1 punt return touchdown. That says a lot. Okay, so let me go to this punt return defense for Notre Dame. And Notre Dame is tied for 97 in the country. Okay, punt return defense. And it's about like 9 yards average. Like I say, this is just 1 game. All right. And, you know, Notre Dame hasn't, you know, I guess really had a chance to show everything. And being that it was CJ Carr's first game, you know, especially on the road, they just weren't going to be able to show everything. Okay? So, guys, look, this is all I'm saying. You guys can believe in Texas A&M. You guys cannot. Me, I am a believer in Texas A&M, not because I'm a homer, because I love an experienced football team. All right. The only guy that I know for sure that was always able to carry a team that was inexperienced in a lot of spots was Nick Saban. Okay. But because of the coach that he was able to get those guys up, ready for each and every opponent, and they played like veterans. Okay. Another coach that I know for sure is Kirby Smart. All right. He's able to play with inexperienced guys, and it's because of his track record and what he was able to develop. Dabo Swinney is another. Okay, although people like crap on Dabo is one of the better coaches in all of college football, and I'm going to stick to that. Okay, but if you was to ask me what other coach may just be an up and comer as you know, just pretty much establishing themselves, I'm going to tell you Mike Elko. You know, so far it's like the newcomer, but another one I'm going to tell you is Steve Sarkisian. All right, the Texas head coach. I believe that these will be some of the best years that's seen from Texas and Texas A&M for at least over a decade. I believe these two programs will go at it with each other. Okay, I'll get into that later on, you know, down the line. But if you used to ask me today, who will be the better coaches in the SEC going forward, you know, to put up there with Kirby Smart, and like I say, hell, even Lane Kiffin, put it up there with those guys, and even Brian Kelly at LSU. I would honestly say Steve Sarkisian would be the first one because he's just been able to cement what he's cemented over there. Mike Elko will be the next one. I think Mike Elko time now, this is the game where you go out and you essentially leave your mark. You leave your mark with the A&M fan base, but you leave your mark with all of college football, and you make them remember you. That's the game that make this be the game that turned Texas A&M football into what they wanted to be years ago with Johnny Football. That's all I'm saying. All right, so once again, I got Texas A&M winning 28-24. Thursday, I'll come out with another podcast that's going to break down the defense, you know, and stuff like that. But once again, guys, I love all of you. Please make sure that you guys continuously tune into this show. Hit the like button, you know. Tell me what you guys think, stuff like that. But I love all of you, man. And once again, #GigEm Aggies.